Dear friends, I am Dr. Aarti Arun Kumar. I shall be leading a discussion on industrial morale. The term morale is usually applied to civilian populations and armies during wartime. Its conspicuous presence or absence is often considered vital to the outcomes of the war. It refers to the degree of cooperation extended by the employees of an enterprise to the management in the course of their work, the interest they manifest in their work and in the enterprise by which they are employed, and their willingness to assume a share of responsibility that their work is properly done and expeditiously done. Morale has an influence on social behavior and conduct, therefore has two aspects, psychological and social, wherein psychological constituted by the organization of industry and the behavior or mental tendency of workers towards people, towards those in authority above them, while social is evidenced in the social behavior of the workers. Some of the characteristics of high morale environment are positive or favorable attitude towards those in authority, self-induced obedience, positive feeling of respect and confidence for authorities, collective administration, unity and adjustability, rejection of frustration, a sense of enthusiasm and productivity in work. Morale can be best understood in terms of four determinants, the first one being group cohesiveness. Employees in a normal work situation rarely function as totally isolated individuals. Whether management is aware of it or not, the workers are likely to form a group or a number of subgroups. The ideal situation and the one which makes for the highest morale is one in which there is a single group that includes all employees, the representatives of the employees and the employers. The extent to which this is possible will determine the extent to which high morale is possible. Unfortunately, the factor of group formation is too often overlooked, which has serious implications on morale formation. Management needs to take specific steps to encourage the formation of the group that includes labor and management working together. The second determiner is goals, which promotes group cooperation, advancement, security, increased earnings and individual and group welfare can all be goals provided management encourages them and the employee has evidence that they are real and attainable. It must also be possible for employees to make observable progress towards the goals. Finally, the employee should have specific meaningful tasks for the individual in the group to perform and a sense of participating in the group's work towards the goal. This will give the employee a sense of empowerment and hence raise morale. Some subjective measures of morale is sociometry that measures the group and subgroup formations. It can furnish details as to clique formations and the extent to which they may act as disruptive influences in the organization. It also can pick a potential leader. However, it is advised that sociogram should be used in conjunction with objective methods such as questionnaires, attitude scales and interviews. Objective measures should be used with caution because these indicators may be due in part to morale. However, there is no certainty as to how other factors enter the picture. To end the discussion, some of the methods to increase industrial morale are the expert approach, wherein the expert makes a spot survey and then writes a report wherein he gives his suggestions. However, these suggestions give morale a slight spurt and a status quo remains. Some organizations have counselors who help in increasing morale because he is in a position to promote group cooperation and to help a person see the goal, his advancement towards it and the meaning of his work in relation to achieving it. I hope this session gave an overall picture about industrial morale. Thank you.